My allergies are a little screwed up there, so if I'm gonna sound a little congested, that's why. But all right, I just wanted to give some closing thoughts on the entire Triple G Canelo saga, the rivalry, and now that it's over and done with, let's talk about it a bit. So, I said this in the stream last night, and I'll say it again here on this video. To me, it wasn't that Canelo looked that impressive. I think it was more along the lines of Gennady Golovkin's age catching up with him. You know, father time catches them all, bro. I said this when Pacquiao was on his way out the door, man. Like, you know, going into that Ugas fight. You know, when it was supposed to be Errol Spence. It's not a conspiracy theory. The guy's just old, man. When you're in your 40s, you're old for fighting. It is what it is, people. So, and now I went against the grain and picked Triple G to win that fight, but, you know, that was only the second fight I got wrong all year. I still have, this year I have a 90 percentage wins, okay? I've picked on 18 fights, I've picked on 20 fights, I got 18 of them correct. So I went against the grain and took a chance and rolled the dice a little bit last night for Triple G. But his age caught up with him, man. And everybody's quick to jump to these fucking conspiracies. The guy got old, people. And it is what it is. Now, with that being said, I still think Golovkin won the series, but he lost last night. I thought Golovkin clearly won the first two fights, and you guys all well know this. So in my mind, yes, Triple G lost last night, but he still won the in my mind. And I think most legitimate boxing fans' mind that know how to score fights properly, Triple G won the trilogy, okay? But, you know, he lost last night. He lost, okay? Let's not, and I'm not discrediting Canelo again, but like, dude, how much and now the other question has become, how much credit does Canelo deserve for legitimately beating Triple G this time around? None. Canelo Alvarez deserves zero fucking credit for that win last night. And I'm going to explain to you why. Going into as I've said it time and time before, going into preceding this third fight. Look, Canelo had lost twice to Golovkin. We all know this, okay? In the first fight, he vacated his belt, ducked him, got a bullshit draw out of it, and waited 2 years for him. In the second fight, in the lead up to the second fight, he tested positive for steroids, got his ass kicked again, got another bullshit decision. Then he dodged this third fight for 4 years, came back to finally fight him when he was 40, and barely outpointed him again. Legitimately this time. So Canelo doesn't deserve that much credit, in my personal opinion. Contrary to what IBFP and these Canelo dick riders will tell you, he doesn't deserve that much fucking credit for this. He fought a 40-year-old last night, a man who he was terrified of in his prime, that he had lost to twice. Now that he was 40, he had one up on him, and he outworked him. And it was pretty evident to me that, you know, after the first, I'd say 3-4 rounds, I kind of knew what direction the fight was going. I figured Golovkin would kind of come on strong towards the end, but it would just be too little, too late. And that's exactly what happened. The output just wasn't there for him. The combination punchings weren't there for him. He wasn't using his jab as much. Like, he looked 40 years old. He looked legitimately 40 years old last night. And so, with all that being said, I don't think it was that Canelo looked great. I just think that he was in a fight with the 40-year-old that he was terrified of a few years ago. So that's again, people, we should have had this third fight right after the second one. It would have been a lot more competitive. It would have been a lot more interesting because Golovkin would have still been a lot closer to his prime. Say this fight happened in 2019. Instead of 2022, it would have been a lot more competitive because you would have had the Golovkin that fought Derevyanchenko in there. You know, that version of Triple G. So, Now, but Canelo beat him last night. He beat him. I'm not coming up with any excuses, but in my opinion, he doesn't deserve that much credit for beating him because you were in there with a fucking 40-year-old that beat you twice. And again, Canelo Alvarez has never fought this man never fought Golovkin in his prime, not one time. In their first fight, Golovkin was 36 years old. Like, that's not me discrediting Canelo or bigging up Triple G. That's the fucking truth, people. And that's why I say I am the truth, bro, because I love Triple G. He's one of my, I've enjoyed his fights for a long time now. But he lost last night, guys. He lost. There's no conspiracy theory here. He lost to a guy that he already defeated twice, and now he was 40 years old, and he got outpointed, you know. The fight itself was a fucking dud. And again, and that brings me back to, you know, if this fight would have happened in 2019, that fight would have been a lot more entertaining, just like the second fight was. That was the biggest shocker to me, is that Golovkin just clearly didn't have it anymore. You know, the output wasn't there, the jab wasn't there, the combination punching wasn't there anymore. So Golovkin beat Canelo 2 out of 3 times, and Canelo outpointed him once when he was 40. Does he deserve any credit for it? Absolutely fucking not. But he won the fight last night. That's what I'm trying to tell you. And that's why I say I'm the truth, because that is the truth. He went 1 for 3 against Canelo. He won 1 out of 3 fights against Triple G, and the only time he legitimately beat him was when he was 40 years old. And that's after ducking him for years and vacating his title and testing positive for steroids, losing twice, and then ducking him for another 4 years, waiting till he was 40, and then outpointed him. So, I mean, it is what it is, people. You know what I'm saying? In my opinion, I would like to see Triple G retire, or if he's going to fight again, okay, I would prefer him just to kind of have a farewell fight, because he has one more fight left on his DAZN contract, and my guess is that's probably going to be it for him. Either that, or maybe take one more big risk and big challenge in your last fight and then call it a day. He's been a great middleweight champion for a lot of years now. And again, just like a couple years, you know, last year, over the last couple of years, and on my original YouTube channel, like we got to talking about Pacquiao. We'd love to see him stick around, but in the same breath, in his advanced stage, we don't want to see the man get hurt either. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think Golovkin deserves that. He's given us entertaining fights for the past decade plus. So I'd like to see him have one more fight, maybe against Charlo, something like that. And then, you know, just call it a day, bro. You know, he's been a great fighter for a lot of years. He doesn't owe us, the fans, anymore. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't owe boxing anything. He doesn't owe anybody anything. So I think he should just finish out his DAZN contract, have one more farewell fight, and then call it a day. That's my personal opinion. Now, as far as Canelo goes, he's not going near Bivol or Beterbiev anytime soon. We'll see what happens with that. And I think a lot of that has to do with how Bivol and Zurdo Ramirez plays out, which we'll get to talking about that once the fight gets closer. But that's my fucking concluding thoughts on this saga, this trilogy between these two guys. I hope everybody enjoyed the video. I hope everybody's having a nice Sunday night and you had a nice weekend. I have to work every day this week, okay? So the videos this week will probably be few and far between. But I have to work every day except Friday this week. So what I'm going to do is, unless there's some big news, you're probably not going to see me upload too many videos, if at all. But I am off Friday, so we're going to do a live stream on the Shakur Stevenson-Robson Consecao fight on Friday night. So stay tuned for that. But that being said, God bless everybody. I hope everybody's having a lovely weekend. I had a great time with my cousins and shit last night. I hope everybody had a nice Saturday night. God bless you and salute. I'll talk to you next time. Cheers.